one of the things I think couples find the hardest to do when they come for help is to keep the momentum going of whatever strategies are being suggested and worked on. So they might come to therapy because they've tried lots of different things, nothing works, they get upset, they get demotivated, and they're looking for inspiration, they're looking for something new, and they come into therapy hoping for some magic, some way that things are just going to work out fine. And that's absolutely possible. But what I find is that during the couple's therapy, both members of the couple sort of forget that they have to keep the activities going and they need to register the effect on them. So the biggest problem for couples who don't do well in therapy is that they're not registering, they're not taking into account what's actually working for them and using that to motivate them to continue, to kind of make it part of their routine. Just like if you were going to go on a diet and you change the foods that you eat to a healthier aspect, then you have to kind of keep that going so that your lifestyle doesn't change. It's the same in couples therapy. Whatever works in the beginning, you have to make it part of your routine so that it'll always work. So let me give you a little bit of example. I've been working with a couple who are in their late 20s. They've been married a year or so. They don't have any children. And they go from having wonderful times together where they're totally in love, everything gels, they're on the same page, and then they go to the other extreme of feeling like they don't understand each other, they're hurting each other, they're being snarly and snappy, and nothing seems to fit. Whatever they do doesn't seem to please their partners. It's like chalk and cheese. How does this happen? Well, it happens because when the good times are around, the couple are not noticing what actually works. They're not registering it, they're not noting it, they're not paying attention to what their motivations were, what their mood was, what triggered them, so then they can't keep it going. And then when the bad times come, they're just angry and snarly and horrible and they don't know what to do, and then they come for help. Well, here's the best way I can help couples like these. And I'll tell you how I help this couple. Let's call them Judy and Mike. So Judy would always feel like sharing her stuff with Mike and telling him all about her day, what she did, what she thought, what she was planning to do, and kind of invite him into her world. And she'd be looking forward to that pretty much every day, to sharing and telling him all about it. And she imagined that he'd be delighted to hear it, he'd be putting his foot into her world and being with her. Mike, on the other hand, felt like he was already full up with stuff. He just couldn't take anymore. He didn't hear Judy as being inviting or welcoming or sharing. He felt her as burdening. So when in those moments when he felt overwhelmed, he just shut her out. And then what do you think happened? She would get upset. He would get upset. They would snap at each other. They would bring up the old past and get their old grudges out, have fights, have arguments, insult each other, condemn each other, and completely pull apart. And then they'd wait and see what happened. They wouldn't think, well, what worked before? How did we come out of this before? They didn't think about those things. They just thought it was going to happen like magic. So what do you think happened? Yes, you might be right. When they stepped away from each other, they suddenly felt each other's loss. Where's my partner? I feel empty. Without the fighting and without the good times, they didn't know what to do. They were alone. They were scared. They felt totally at sea. So then they started making little pathways to each other, trying to, find out if I put my toe in the water here, if I make a suggestion here, if I try to help here, if I offer something, then see if we can work our way around. So they came from a place of wanting to reconnect. And what they did that over and over and over again, but it didn't help them maintain it. So here's what I suggested to Judy and Mike. Whenever they had a good moment, They should actually make it register by talking to each other and to themselves. Wow, we're in a good place right now. How do you feel when you're in a good place? Tell me what it's like for you. Tell me how you feel about me, about our relationship, about our future. And then the other one goes. Same thing. You ask your partner, how do you feel about our good moments? Why do you think we just did it? How do you feel about us right now? How do you feel about our future? When you talk and share, you're actually laying down an actual memory trace of that good time. Your brain is reinforcing the good time. It's remembering how you got there because you're reflecting on it. You're talking about it. You can start also sharing it in a different way with each other. And here's what I recommended to Judy and Mike. Write each other a little note in the middle of the day about what you're feeling and thinking about each other. It could be 5 lines, 1 line, 6 words, whatever it might be. And just bring all your feelings together and put it in a little note or a letter, and then give it to each other at the end of the day. That would be a wonderful way of keeping that good connection going and really paying attention to how those good times came about and giving yourself a chance to reinforce it, expand it, and deepen it. Another way I helped Judy and Mike was to say that when you're going through a rough patch, you need to check in with each other so that you become aware of what's going on and you can step around it and into it carefully, but with hope. So what I suggested was that each hour, one of them would ask the other one, I wonder what's going on for you right now, and vice versa. Now you can do it by text, you can do it by phone, you can do it by person, you can do it by email, you can do it whatever way you like. But it's keeping the momentum going. Even if you just get a couple of words in response, you're feeling connected, you're seeing what works, you're paying attention to it, and you're making it happen again. So now do me a favor. Write me a few words about what it's like for you when you are going from really, really good, happy, connected times to awful, disconnected, fragmented, horrible times with your partner. And tell me what you thought of these examples that I gave you to try and keep that momentum going. Let me know what works for you. And tell me what you'd like me to talk about in the future so I can also maintain my momentum with you and give you what you need.